So I'm going to take a few minutes to explain the 5 apps I learned about this week and how I might be able to use them in my classroom this year. The first app is something called Book Creator, and I really like this one because it seems like it would really get the students engaged in doing some of the activities I already do, but just a different way. Some of my ideas are to create a lab notebook, whereas previously we would have a paper version of this. It wasn't interactive. But with the Book Creator, I think it would allow me to also incorporate the assessment as part of the book, so students could keep a record of what they're doing throughout the lab and the lab experiences. And then as like another chapter of the book, they could create an assessment that they would integrate into their book. And of course, I would give them some direction and some options for different types of assessments. So I think this Book Creator will definitely be used in my classroom. Another app that I used this week was something called iMovie. This was just a really cool app. It was a lot of fun to use. What I liked about iMovie from the beginning is that it gave me a storyboard and a template to start from. I find that students often waste a lot of time brainstorming and just getting started. With iMovie, they're already provided with a set number of photos and a set number of videos that they need to use. In addition to that, it makes suggestions that the photos should be close up or in a group. It should be an action shot. So I really liked how it got the students started with a template, yet when we viewed all the iMovies from the class this week, I didn't get bored. They all seemed very different and very unique, even with that template that they were originally provided with. So I think the students will have a lot of fun with iMovie, documenting their lab and lab experiences. I'm also thinking about letting the students create iMovies throughout a unit that they can then view their iMovies for a test as like a little test help. We'll have to see though. This is just a short little example of the iMovie I made this week. I'm not going to play the whole thing. You can see it's 1 minute and 24 seconds, but here's just an idea of what it might look like. The third app that I learned about this week, although I was somewhat familiar with it, I became familiar with more of its capabilities. The app is called Socrative, and it's a way of assessing students by creating quizzes and polls. What I like about this is the ability to collaborate with my peers so that working through the common assessments will maybe be a little easier. It generates spreadsheets of student responses so that I can assess students individually as opposed to a group. I think I'd be using this more on the fly during class. I have that capability to generate a question right away and have them answer it. I could also use it as a warm-up activity while I'm getting attendance and meeting with students that are absent, and of course using it as exit tickets. This week was Nearpod. I really enjoyed using that. I had never used it before. I like it because I can take what I already have, like PowerPoints, and generate assessments throughout the PowerPoints at my own pace or at students' pace. Furthermore, then, those assessments are generated to a spreadsheet where the data can be collected, and as we all know, administrators love data. I also like that I can share it with my colleagues, and hopefully this will help us work through our common assessments a little smarter. So again, I talked about the access to data with Nearpod, and I brought that up a few times throughout this presentation. And I like that because I can actually show administrators what I know about the students. You know, they do walkthroughs, but sometimes I don't think they get the big picture of what we actually know or do. So that's how I'd like to use the data with Nearpod here as an example. I'd also like to use Nearpod as a way of pseudo-flipping my class, not the traditional flip, but it's just an alternative to like a video. You know, even though they're kind of captivating at first, I think students will get bored with them, and Nearpod gives me another option. The last app that I enjoyed working with this week was Explain Everything. I enjoyed working with it because they did some updates since I used it last, which are really nice. I like the fact that I can now edit, whereas before I wasn't able to do that. Explain Everything will allow me to make videos very quickly and very easy that my students can watch either at home or in class. They can use it as a review for an upcoming quiz or a test or even the exam. I can also share these videos with my colleagues. I'm now talking with the other chemistry teacher, and we're thinking about swapping units. He teaches the honors and AP, and I teach academic, but there's no reason that my students and his students can't have access to both of us. So I really foresee me using Explain Everything in the classroom this year and possibly getting my students to use it. Another really neat thing about Explain Everything is they have some of these neat buttons, like this red dot. It's not a cat toy, believe it or not. It's a teaching tool. Also, they have arrows. You can make arrows. You can also have a laser pointer, which is a little annoying after a while. It's very easy to write in different colors and quickly change from one color to another. Now I'm just using 2 colors here, but you have a wide variety of options. You can insert text very easily. I'm on an animal kick here. Cat. I don't even have a cat. But you can see that the features are very easy to use. As I'm making this video, I'm using the features. So I'm really looking forward to using this.